Hey guys, Paul here from Meldrum Performance Coaching and the Complete Personal Training Podcast. Today's podcast, keep the goal the goal. So this is a quote I heard a long time ago from strength coach Dan John, and I think it was in his book Never Let Go. I'm not 100% sure. He's written about it quite a few times, so I can't really tell you exactly where it comes from with 100% certainty. There's a cat in the background. But when I first read it a long time ago, I didn't know what it meant. I realized like keep the goal the goal. I don't know what he's talking about. Like the goal is the goal. And what he meant, and it's only come to me again, like it's something that keeps on popping up into my awareness every now and then, is a lot of people set a goal. A lot of clients set a goal, trainers set a goal, business people set a goal, and they lose sight of where they're going. So they don't keep the goal landmark changes. And it's not really a problem that a goal can change, because goals do change over time as people change and grow and learn and things happen. That can happen, but that's much more on a macro level, not so much on a micro level. So if we are looking to keep, this is actually inspired by a conversation I had today when I was talking to a student client of mine and training him for a physique thing, and I said, do you want to be entertained or do you want results? And he wants variety instead. And I was like, well, it was disappointing to me. And I said that wasn't received so well. Not everything you say will be received so well. I probably could have phrased it better, to be fair, to him. I'm not infallible. I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes in my communication as well, and it's a constant work in progress. But it was interesting because it was a real example of not keeping the goal the goal. And it's not just this person that I was speaking to, it's quite a number of students and clients and lots of people I see come across. We have a goal, we have something that we want to do, and it's really challenging. The hard thing is, it's really challenging to stay on point and to stay focused on what that goal is, particularly as that goal stretches out over time. Another student that I'm working with has had 3 separate goals that are all very contradictory. Is that a word? They contrast quite strongly with each other over the last 3 weeks. So one of them has been for a facility, one of them has been for an outdoor business, one of them has been for something else. And you can't do all 3 of those things at once. It just doesn't really work. So keeping the goal the goal. So having the ability to look at where you're at, where your client's at, where your students are at, whoever you're working with is at, and to keep them on track for the goal is a really hard thing to do, but a really worthwhile thing to do. So I want to go over a few strategies for that. The first thing for keeping the goal is to write down the goal, to identify and be aware of the goal. So if the goal is a physique competition which has a certain date, for example, the goal is to look the best you can for that particular day. The goal for winning it, isn't really the best goal, because it's a subjective measurement that people use who are judging said show or said contest, but your goal should be to look the best you've ever looked for that particular day. If it's a sporting contest, it's to do the best that you can on that particular day. If you notice in my phrasing and how I'm talking about it, I always use do your best on that particular event. It's not about winning, it's not about losing, it's about doing your best on that particular event, because that's what you can control. So the goal always should be ideally something you can control. Like I could set the goal of winning the Mr. Olympia by the time I'm 40. It's probably not the most realistic goal, and it's certainly something I've got no control over, particularly because I don't have best natural calf development, but whatever. We won't go into that. So look your best on a particular day, that's fine. From there, you break the goal down into habits, behaviors, skills, and practices. So the habits that you need to have, the behaviors of a person who wants to achieve said goal, the skills that you need to develop, all that kind of stuff is really, really important. But then there needs to be periodic re-checking in to make sure the goal is still the goal. Because if a program does take, say, 16 weeks to get there, or you're training all year round for a particular event, it's really easy to get distracted. We get bored really, really quickly. We love that dopamine hit of new sensation, new environments, all that kind of stuff. It's very human to do. It's not useful, though, for keeping the goal the goal. So, for example, if I'm working with an athlete and they want to compete at a certain event and then one day at the gym everyone's testing their 1RMs, they want to get involved in it. I'm unfortunately going to have to play the bad coach role and say, no, you're not doing that. And they're going to go, why can't I do that? And I'm like, because is it going to contribute towards your goal? Yeah, no, maybe, sure. And then once you've understood that, it basically gets people, it's never received well that you keep telling people that they can't do something, or if someone wants to change something, you tell them that they can't, you're not happy about that. It's never really received that well as well. Our job sometimes is not to be liked. It's not to be the most liked person in the world. We need to be able to give people the feedback that they need to hear, they may not like to hear, about keeping the goal, and how their behavior isn't getting them to what they need to do. So guys, what I recommend that you do with this is, with your own business, have a look at what your goal is. Is it to run a studio? Is it to run a boot camp? Is it to have 50 clients a week or 40 clients or whatever the number is? It all doesn't matter. What's the goal? And are you working towards that goal, or are you getting distracted? So for example, if you're an in-person trainer in a commercial gym and you're spending an hour on social media a day doing posts to get people to like you and follow you and share content and all that kind of stuff, is that the best way to get you towards your goal? The answer is hopefully going to be no. Ideally, it would the best thing would be to walk the floor and talk to more people. In your own training, what's the goal? Is it to do hypertrophy? Why are you going out and doing sprints? Why do you want to do all these other things? It's teaching yourself to resist the urge to go do stuff like that. It's really hard to do. So currently, I'm training for basketball. Basketball is my goal. It's to play back at a really, really decent level. Cool, that's fine. I have to make sacrifices of that. So, I have to do more cardio than I would generally enjoy to do, because I need, as a little bit older, it's a little bit harder for me to build up the fitness. And if I'm going to be competing with 22-year-olds again, nearly 15 years older than these people, I need to make some sacrifices there. I have to lose some size in my legs. It's pretty simple. Like, I can't squat as heavy because jumping takes precedence there, and being agile and being moving. So the goal is to do that. I can't get distracted and go, oh, cool, I'm just going to go outside and test my 1RM. It's going to be a disappointing experience, but it's probably also going to set me back. From then, what you do with your clients is you identify what their particular goals are. What are their goals? And then help keep the goal of the goal. So it's like, if they're going to go out on the weekend and eat a whole bunch of crap, for example, how's that going to affect their goal? Well, you remind them of that, and then if they decide the payoff is worth it, then it's something that you both decide together, and that's okay. But if their goal is to lose a whole bunch of fat, and then they do something, and then they want to get into a powerlifting competition, and they want to do something else, you need to sit down with them and reevaluate whether the goal is actually still the goal. Cool guys, that's it for today's podcast. Any questions, let me know. Thanks heaps for watching, and see you soon.